of you. This is like Dr. Pankaj Mishra from Mr. Valley Technology. Today, in the series of national workshop on the research methodology, today we are going to conduct this research workshop on research method. Specifically, we are going to cover qualitative and quantitative research and what are the difference between these two research, and which type of research is useful for which type of particular person and subject and faculty wise, that we will going to discuss today here. For the all those thing and discussion all research methodology, qualitative and quantitative research, today we have Dr. Devlina Talukdar ma'am with us. She is renowned faculty member at Kolkata University, and she has vast experience in research, and she already involved in the qualitative and quantitative both type of research, and she is presently guiding many students under her supervision. Okay, so welcome Dr. Devlina ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Now over to you. You can start your class or workshop with us.
Okay. So, very good evening to all of you. First, we all know that there are two basic format of research, or we can say basic.
Ma'am, you not share your PPT. PPT. Please
Yeah,
start your PPT.
I'm starting, sir.
You just have to click on your PPT. You have to click on PPT. Yeah. Now full screen. The
Yeah.
slideshow. Yeah. Now it is available, ma'am. It's look
Okay,
nice.
okay. So there are mainly two approaches of research. So one is the qualitative and the other one is the quantitative. But before we are coming to the qualitative as well as quantitative research, there are some basic research which comes under both qualitative as well as the quantitative research. So first one we can see in the slide, that is the fundamental research. So there are basic three types of research. One is the fundamental, the second one is the applied, and the third one is the action research. So based on these three research, we can see other two approaches, that is the qualitative, that is the most common one, that is the qualitative and the quantitative research. So we will come on that part after the discussions about the fundamental research. So fundamental research, from the name only we can say that it's a basic research, or we can say it's a pure research. Why it's a pure research? Because this is a new discovery of a knowledge. This discovery, whatever discovery we can see in the field of knowledge, is only for the sake of knowledge. Okay. And this discovery, as we are saying that this is a discovery of a knowledge, that means previously this kind of knowledge has not been established, or it has not been propounded by any sort of researcher. So this is the new contribution of the research theory. So based on this type of research, the theory that we can see in each and every field, whether it's related with the health, whether it's related with the education or the commerce background, so whatever theories we are seeing nowadays, so that theories is the major concern of because of this fundamental research. So fundamental research is nothing. So when we are discovering any sort of new knowledge which has not been, we can say discovered by the other research, it is solely a new knowledge. So that comes under the fundamental research. That's why it's known as a pure research. Why it's pure? Because it is the most primary one, and we can say that this sort of research work has not been established or been contributed any other kind of researcher. So basically this fundamental research is being generated for solution of the specific problem. So we can say the Newton's law. Okay, if we consider the Newton's law, so that when the Newton have actually investigated, or like he had discovered this theory, so before him nobody was there to talk about the gravitational force. So this research, which is actually the pure one, which has not been conducted by any other researcher or any other, we can say, the scientist, so that comes under the fundamental kind of research. Is it clear? Okay. Now we are coming to the applied research. So applied research is nothing but when we are applying whatever theories that we have generated from the fundamental research. So now when we are just discovered all those theories, and now we want to see how these theories are being applied in the different field. So that comes under the applied research. So applied research is nothing, the theories that we got from the fundamental research, now we want to see its practical application in the field. So that is the application or the applied research. So applied research is nothing when we want to solve the practical problems in any field. Like if you are generating that, if we consider the Newton's laws also, so how this Newton's law or the gravitational, the theory is being solving many other problems. So that's why we can see whether this research or whether this theory in which field we can apply, and how it actually curing the problem or how it actually solving the problem which is related with any sort of field. So this kind of research we use in our everyday life or solving our everyday problem, so that we can bring a well-being in our life. So that is the applied research. Is it clear? Any more question? Okay. Now we are coming to the basic difference about this basic and applied research. So basic research, as we have told, that this is a pure research, as being this research is not being propounded by any other. This is the first time investigation. So this sort of research we generally use for the expansion of the knowledge in any area. But when we are coming to the applied research, now from the knowledge that we got from the fundamental research, now we want to apply in the different field. We want to see its application. Simply we want to see its application. So that comes under the applied research. Now, second difference that we can see, that it is the results in universal principles relating to the process and its relationship to outcomes. So whatever theories we are investigating, whatever theories we are generating from the fundamental research, so for every theories there are certain principles. Now we want to see whether these principles are having relationship between themselves, or how these principles are giving more ideas, or it's being generating universal truth. So we generally deals with those things in the basic research. And when we are coming to the applied, so applied research, as I have told, that whatever principles, whatever relationships that we are getting in the basic research, now we want to see whether it's being solving the problem in our day-to-day life. So basically, applied research, when we are coming to the terminology of the applied, that means we are actually applying it in our day-to-day life. And when we are applying it in our day-to-day life, we want to see how they are solving our day-to-day problem. Now we are coming to the basic research again, the findings of significance and the value to the society in general. So when there are more knowledge are being generated in our society, when the new theories are coming in our society, so it's actually expanding the vast area of knowledge, the vast area of society in the sake of knowledge. So in that way we can say that basic research is nothing but it is adding more valuable knowledge to our society. Okay, so that is a basic research. So when we are whatever theory, nowadays also we can see that more and more theories are coming out for. So why these theories are actually generating in societies, because from this theory we are actually expanding our knowledge, we gain more knowledge about different field. So that's why basic research is most important. Now we are coming to the applied research. So applied research is nothing but we want to see the practical relevance, like the theories that has been generated from the basic research. Now we want to see whether this theory in which field we can apply. Like if I say like the SWOT analysis. So SWOT analysis is one of the theory. Now from this SWOT analysis, we want to see whether this SWOT analysis can solve the problem related to health, related to the education. So in which area this SWOT analysis is applicable, and how it is are being related to our day-to-day life, whether it's actually solving our problem. If it is solving our problem, in which area actually it's being solving. So in that way, applied research is being important, playing important role in our life. So, so these are certain contexts that has been given as an example, like undertaken by people based in university. Because in university level, the people who are in the mostly in the higher rank, so they are actually more engaged with this basic research. Because in university level or in different education sector, what we see, the more theories that are coming out, that are being coming through with the help of the researcher, okay, that are coming with the help of the researcher or the scientist. So based on that, just a second, so based on that, this basic research is being developed. And if we come to the applied research, so again the same thing, in which variety of setting, in which variety of organization, the people who are involved in different organization and how they are applying those theories and for solving the problem. For that only we use generally the applied research. So this is one more comparison that has been given in a short form, basic and applied research. So if you want to take a screenshot of it, so you can take it. It's the same point are being repeated here, but in a short manner. So see, first one is actually the fundamental research is more scientific in knowledge, because from the experiment, from the the experiment that are coming out from the control environment. So based on those experiments, we generate theories. So that is related with the fundamental research. But when we are coming to the applied research, so applied research, we can see that it actually related with the real life problem. So it is purely theoretical. So fundamental research, when we are concerning with the fundamental research, so it's are more pure. Why it's are more pure? Because it is creating a betterment for the society. Because when the more knowledge are being generated in the society will gain knowledge. As the society will gain knowledge, it will obviously expand the knowledge driven of the person. So that's why this fundamental research is most important. Now, primary concern is to develop the scientific knowledge and prediction. So, based on this, fundamental research actually concerned with the more scientific knowledge. It's a building block theory. We can also say that the fundamental research is just like a building block theory, because based on one theory, we have another theory. So, from the second theory, we are generating the third theory. So, in this way, we are actually building up the knowledge. So that's why it's being used to expand the knowledge of the human society. But when we are coming to the applied, so applied research is nothing but when we are applying it in different field, where we can actually apply the theory. It's not that in every field we will apply the theory, but where it is applicable, we have to see the whether this knowledge is suited in that field or not. So based on that, we will get the idea in which sector like we can apply. If I give one example also, like have you heard about the Tollman's theory? So Tollman is one of the psychologists, or we can say the Piaget's theory or the moral development theory. So these are the theories which we can see in the field of psychology. Okay, so now we will see in which area, like in which area we can apply this theory. We have to test in the case of the education sector. We will test in the case of the psychological matter, whether it's actually solving the mental issues, the psycho dynamic problem, whatever type of problem we generally see within a person, like it is actually helpful for solving the mental health issue or not. So in this way, we will check the applicability of each and every theories, and from there only we will get an idea like in which sector we can apply one specific or the particular theory. The third basic kind of research that we see after the fundamental and the applied, the last one is the action research. So from the word only, we are getting an idea that when we are doing something with the help of psychomotor domain. Psychomotor means psycho means your mind, and the motor when you are actually moving your body parts. So that is an action research. So action research is nothing but when you want to solve the immediate problem that you are seeing in your locality. It can be related with the school environment, it can be related with your community environment. Okay, so when you want to solve the immediate problem within your local environment, so that comes under the action research. So action research more we can see in the field of education, because we want to improve the local practices of the school. Like if there is a problem related with midday meal, if there is a problem related with the infrastructural facilities, so now we want to improve the infrastructural facilities or the midday meal facilities. Now we have to find out the problem, and based on that problem we have to research like which are the concerning area which are creating the problem, and based on the the data and the availability of the data, you want to solve the problem, like what are the measures we can take so that we can actually remove this disparity, we can remove the problem. So that comes under the action research. Now this action research can be of two types. One is the participatory and the other one is the practical. So participatory means when you are actually participating by yourself, you are involving in the life of the people, and while involving with them you will be able to see the problem, like from the very close you can see the problem, and on the basis of your observation you want to solve the problem. And the practical one is nothing practical when you are implementing certain actions. Okay, when you are implementing certain kind of plans, or the you want to give certain kind of proposals, and based on those proposals and plan, when you want to recommend something, like if you do this then we in this way we can proceed. Any more questions? Okay. Now we will see again about the action research. So action research is also a scientific procedure. As I have told that it actually solves the practical problem, or it is related with the current practices. It can be related with school, it can be related with the health sector, it can be related with the business sector also. But we want to improve the current system, and for that we need the immediate solution. So that's why we use the action. Action means now you have to do now. So you have seen the problem and now you need to solve it, and for that and for solving those problems, what are the measures we must focus so that we can improve the current problem. So that is the action research. Now, if we differentiate between the basic and the action research, so as I have told that basic research is nothing when you are propounding some theory, or when you are investigating on certain kind of principle, and based on those principle when you are generating a theory. Now after generating the theory, you have to we all generally generalize those theory. That means, okay, if anybody is having a question, he or she may can ask, because otherwise I have to shift to the the second screen. So if any question is there, you can ask. You can put your mic on and you may ask it. Otherwise, if you don't have problem, then at last also after the session get over, so there also you can ask it. Okay. The
Yes,
step.
ma'am.
Okay.
Madam.
Tell what do you want to ask?
Yeah, madam. In this criteria, scientific problem and
Hmm.
hypothesis. Hypothesis something given, na, madam. Word is hypothesis. This word already previously we discussed about histogram in that some diagrammatically had explained this hypothesis. So actually, hypothesis means it's impact of the particular area, now, madam. Just is it correct?
Please pardon. Please tell me once more what you want to ask.
So in this difference between the action research, this last point, madam, last
Uh-huh.
hypothesis is highly specified in the or developing specific statement problem is given, na, madam. Means hypothesis means here it may be impact on particular area, research area, or particular problem solution.
Hmm.
So in this action, we are say that in
Hmm.
the action research, so identify we are identify the problem. After that, some of the implementation interval we are taking. So we are evaluating the changes specific context. Yes or no, madam? Yeah. So in
Yes.
this hypothesis means how already actions we are taking now, madam. Methods we are following. So
Uh,
what is the impact of the hypothesis means what here? The word objective word. I mean taking that.
See, in action research, what happened? Action research, you have, whenever you are starting with any sort of research, you have actually felt some kind of problem, right? So
Yes,
after
madam.
facing the some kind of problem only, what you do? You actually research on it, how the problem is coming, from where the problem is coming, like which are the target group. So based on those, you will collect the information, and after collecting the information, you will also search the previous researchers whether like the people of that time they have also faced the same problem or not. So based on that, that's a review. Okay, that's a process of review, and after reviewing, what we do, we generally do the data collection, and based on data collection we have to plan, like if this is a problem, like what are the system, what are the process we can follow to solve it immediately. At least we have to. In action research is nothing. This action research is more applicable in the case of school studies. Like in schools we have a numerous kind of problem, like you are giving the best technology, you are giving the best infrastructural facility, but still nowadays what we see that students are not studying. What is the problem? What is the reason behind? We are giving the each and every facility, but still students are not studying in that level that they should do. So in that cases, what we have to do, we have to change the current practices.
Yeah. Yes,
Now
ma'am.
you
And
have
mindset also, no, madam. Mindset also. So
what
mindset also we can change. Mindset. Student mindset also.
see if you are doing with the psychological field, then you obviously you will check out the attitude, the mindset of the people. But if you are not doing in the psychological field, now if you want to do in the educational field, so whether this curriculum is not fitting for those people, you have to see each and every aspect.
Yes, ma'am.
And based on that, you can modify the current practices and you can recommend some of the solutions. So these are the things which, if we implement, obviously for that you have to do some kind of intervention. Like you have to see the intervention method. Like for one group you will apply that method, and for the other group you won't apply that method. And if you see the changes between both the group, from there only you will get the idea whether this system is working or not. So in that way also we can do. In that way also we can do. Okay.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. We can
In the
understand.
case of like in the case of science or the medicine, what we do in the case of science or medicine, whether this medicine is applicable for particular segment of people or not, what we do, we generally close the door. We generally what we do, we apply the thing on some of the species. Like for the medicine, we can't apply on the people. So what we do, we apply it on the some kind of species or the animal. So now after applying it on the animal, we will check whether it's working for them or not. If it is working, then we
Yeah.
will apply it. So in case of action research, it's also the same thing. Whatever research you will do, okay, especially in the case of the quantitative one, whatever research you will do, you have to do pilot study. You have to see whether it's working or not, because you will invest so much of effort and money, and after that, putting all your best thing, and after that, when you see it's not working, then it will be useless. Whatever things you have done, it will become useless. In that case, you have to, in each and every step you have to do a kind of test whether it's working or not. That is the thing. Any
Okay,
more
ma'am.
question?
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, any more question? Okay. Second thing, what we can do, second thing, in basic research we see the intensive training is required, because theory is not like that, it's a one night stand. Like in one night I have given the information, I have generated the theory. So in each and every step you have to test, you have to see. And the person who are dealing with the basic research, he or she have to be very conscious, he and she have to be very much expert in that field. Then only you can propound one of the theory. It's not easy. So that's why it's a very long term procedure, because once the theory you are generating, before that you have lot of paperwork, you have lot of mental work. So in that way, it's training is very much important. And for action research we do not need so much of training. Limited training is sufficient, because the same problem that you are facing, so you are facing the problem, and with that problem what you will do, you will just collect the data, you will do the research on it, and based on that you can recommend, like the process that we generally use for the research. Like if you are using the experimental, you have some separate thing. If you are using the descriptive survey research, you have separate thing. For the action research also, since the action research we uh, conduct this kind of research in a local area, that's why your sample size is very small. You do not have to apply this research on the vast or major population, because as it is being conducted in the local area, so that's why your sample size is very small. So dealing with small sample, it's much more easier, and you can observe the people like how they are reacting when you have modified the current practices. And either you can do a intervention, as I have told, that once group you have given the like one method, and the other group you haven't given the intervention. Now you will see the difference. In that way also we can do. So that's why for action research limited training is sufficient. Only the thing, you need to have a research idea how we can conduct the research. That limited training is sufficient. But for the basic research, in whatever field you are conducting the research, you must have a broad idea. Without that broad idea, you can't, the investigate, or you can't, discover the theory. Third one, we can see the selection of the problem. So wide range of method we generally use, not only one method we generally use for, you know investigating or propounding the theory. We have to use different method. In each and every step you have to apply those method, and you have to test it whether it's working, whether the theory is working or not, whether the theory is is ready to generalize within a society or not. So in that way we have to use wide range of method. But for the action research, you only identify the problem. See here, so it's given, it's actually deals with the teaching learning process. In teaching learning situation, whatever problem you generally see, so based on those things you will conduct the research. And after that, in the last point, what we can see, highly specific hypothesis. Obviously, when you are investigating or when you are discovering something new, your hypothesis should be a very specific. We can't take a very broad hypothesis. That hypothesis has to be very specific, and based on those whatever results you are getting, so you can accept or reject the hypothesis. But in case of action research also, specific statement, because it's generally related with the school activities, so its specific statement is fine. But not, we do not require any highly specific statement or the highly specific hypothesis. Specific statement will be, it's workable for the action research. Now, this other delimitation, if we see the delimitation, the major delimitation that we can see, that this action research is only applicable in the case of classroom situation. The second one, we can see this action research is only applicable in case of local environment. You can't apply it in your broader environment or the broader aspect of the society. And you have to be trained. Okay. And the third one, who the people who are dealing with the classroom or the teaching learning situation, only those people can apply this kind of research. It is not applicable for every field, whether it's related with health or whether it's related with the the management. It's not if that management is related with the school activity, then only you can apply. Okay, because in management also you have a different part. So you have to see that that management is related with the institutional part, then only you can apply. Otherwise, in the business sector we can't apply this kind of research. Now, specifically, we will come to the qualitative research. Okay, so the word qualitative has been, it has been stated back around the 15th century, and it has been come up, or we can say it has been derived from the word qualitas, which means the quality. So from the word quality only, we are getting the idea that qualitative research is very much related with the quality, characteristics, property, or the attributes of anything. So that is a qualitative research. So qualitative research dealing with qualities, and it is opposed to the, we can say it is opposed to the quantity. Here we are not dealing with any kind of numerals. We are not dealing with the, the numbers. We are only dealing with the subjective factor. We can say here we are dealing with the subjective factor, the qualities. Okay, the qualities, obviously it's a subjective factor, and when we are coming to the, the numerals, that comes under the objective factor. So we are dealing with the subjective factors. So basically, qualitative research we can use in the case of anthropology, even in the education sector also, even in some cases also in the management also we can use this qualitative research. Now, if we see the meaning of the qualitative research, so qualitative research is nothing but when we are focusing on the human experiences, social phenomena, social events. Basically, it's a non-numerical data. Okay, so that comes under the qualitative. So qualitative research is, we can say it's a broad kind of research, because when we are delving ourselves into the qualitative research, it's being more deep, it's been more dealing with the perception of the people. So when we want to see the perception, when we want to see the experiences, the phenomena, we have to deal in the deep. The investigation is much more depth, we can see. So that one comes under the qualitative research. So quality, when it's on, in a simple word, we can say when we are dealing with non-numerical data, and we want to see how the people are experiencing certain situation, how the people are, elaborating on certain kind of behavior or the event, and we want to see the deep insight about the thing, how and why people are doing in such way. When we are dealing with such kind of, the words, that is how and why, then we can say that the research that we are conducting, that comes under the qualitative one. So in qualitative research, there are various kind of qualitative research. You can see from in the slide only, it's being written ethnography, content analysis. Okay, then interview, obviously interview, focus group. These are some kind of strategies that we use in the case of qualitative research to generate more information. Okay. Now, the qualitative research, here it's being defined that this is the nature of the phenomena, including their quality, different manifestation, the context in which they appear. So, like if there is one word, but that word can be used in different contexts, that word can be used in different perspective. We have to find out the perspective, the context, and we have to generate, the interpretation or based on those contexts. So that comes under the qualitative research. So qualitative research, when we are defining certain kind of emotions, behavior, we can say the events in a more deeply manner. Okay, like here we can see exploring how individual interpret and perceive the world. Like the world, that is one. Different people differently perceive this world. So we have to understand the perspective of the people. Based on those perspective, what we do, we generally have different issues. Now we will compare those issues, and while comparing those issues, what we do, we will generate new ideas. Now how these ideas are being generated, these ideas are being generated with the help of the observation. When you are observing the real world, when you will observe the real world, you will get more idea. Okay, and when you will get more idea, then you are delving yourself into the deep into the research, and from there you are finding out the qualitative insight. What is the reason behind it? Why the people are thinking in this way? You have to find out the reason. So that comes under the qualitative research. Now, in this qualitative research, the questions that we address, that is how and why. As I have already told that in qualitative research, we generally address how and why questions. There are multiple components. There are components because in quantitative research, what happened? You are getting the data, you are collecting the data, and based on the the numerical analysis, you are generating some kind of what we can say results, and we are reporting like for this we are getting this thing. But in case of qualitative research, you have multiple components, you have multiple perceptions, you have multiple perspectives also. Now, these perspectives are not equal. It's been varying. Now, what we generally do in the qualitative research, we generally delve ourselves into the deep into the meaning, and while deeping into the meaning, we find out the reason behind it. The main, we can say, the main target of the qualitative research, we can say, we actually try to find out the deep meaning behind it. Why the people are doing in this way, whom, when, how, and why. So we want to address, we want to answer such kind of questions, and we uncover the reason behind it, and from there only we get the information, and based on that we report it. Now, in qualitative research, there are various kind of research. So first one we can see the phenomenological research. So when you are portraying some kind of experiences related to certain phenomena, as I have already told, that why people are perceiving, why people are experiencing such kind of, the incidences, or why the people are experiencing such kind of trauma. So you have to find out the reason behind it. So here one example is being given, studying the experiences of cancer survivor. So people who are affected by cancer, they survive in different ways. Some of them are, joyfully, they are like, they think like, the much I am relating myself with other people, the much I will be involved with other people, I will just forget my the negative thoughts. But some other people feel like, only this much day I will alive, so my life is getting full of tragedy and all, so I won't be seeing my family member. So now different peoples are having different experiences, and you have to find out these experiences, and based on that you will be able to share your experiences. And now from there only, okay, someone's microphone is on, please mute yourself. And from there what you will do, you will feel a sense of experiences, and now you have to portray those experiences. So that one is a phenomenological research. Phenomenological research is nothing, when you are portraying the experiences of the people, like different people are having different experiences, now you have to cite those experiences. Next, we are coming to the ethnographic research. When we are conducting the ethnographic research, that means we are concerning to particular culture. So in that particular culture, why this pattern of behavior, traditions, or interactions, why we such kind of interactions we generally see, and what is the impact? We want to see the impact. So that is the ethnograph. So ethnographic research is nothing, when we are doing a cultural kind of studies, like the tribal society, we are conducting research on the tribal society. So here one of the example is being given, exploring the impact of the digital technology. So like whether this digital technology has actually changed the traditions or pattern of the people, of the tribal people, so we want to know. So that comes under the ethnographic research. Next one is the case study. So this is very important, like even with the quantitative research also we can use this case study method. How we can use this case study method? Like most of the people have generated the same kind of the result, they have shown the same kind of attitude, or they have given the same kind of perception, but there are certain amount of people who are deviating from the average people, and those cases we can portray as a case study research. So there, it can be a single person, it can be a multiple person, but we can't, share everybody's experiences in one research. So what we will do, we will share at least 10 kind of cases, and we will share in that way, like these 10 cases are deviating from the average. In this way we can portray the case study research. So case study is nothing when you are conducting a deep investigation on one particular group or particular individual, and you want to understand the complex relationship between them, and you want to see why the people are thinking in that way, or the person is behaving that way, why the person is having a such kind of perception. So that comes under the case study. Next one is the grounded theory research. So grounded theory is nothing. When we want to develop certain kind of theories, like in fundamental research, I have told you that fundamental research is nothing when you are propounding or generating a theory. So that way also, grounded research theory is nothing when you want to develop a theory based on the data that you are getting in a real world scenario. So this is a theoretical framework we can say. Next one is the narrative research. Narrative research is nothing like when you are sharing the personal stories or the life experiences of the individual, like the refugees, the kind of people who were refugees and the kind of experiences that they have faced. So you want to narrate those stories, and in this way you will get an idea what had happened 50 years before. So, like, if I want to, like, I'm giving one example that the women freedom fighter during the period of 1947. So, if this is the title of my research, what I will do, I will just pick some of the women who are obviously in 1947 people who were alive. Now they are obviously they are not alive. So, what will happen? Now we will pick some of the women as a sample who were the vivid, the person who have actually seen or who have heard from their family members. So we will pick up some kind of sample from there, and we will share the people's personal stories. Okay, so that is the narrative research. Next one is the historical research. So historical research when we are generating the past events, the past stories. Okay, so that comes under the historical research. So in historical research, when we want to examine the past event, what we have to do, we have to see the artifacts, whatever artifacts are there. We have to see the, the things that we are using for the historical research. Those things are actually having internal validity or not. We have to check those things, like the letters, the newspapers that we are using for, presenting those things as a proof. We have to see whether these sources are actually resembling the past history or not. So in that way, we can use the historical research. Okay, now qualitative research, we can see the qualitative research in different application or in the different field. We can use the qualitative research. If it is related with the education policy, we can use the qualitative research. Again, if we want to see whether a certain program is effective or not, in that case also we can use the qualitative research. Even in the healthcare, if we want to bring a continuous kind of improvement in any healthcare segment also, in that case also we can use this qualitative research. And the last way, we can use community development feedback. So to develop the community, we have to do a certain kind of, we have to bring certain kind of initiative. So these initiatives also we can use as a qualitative research. Now, as I have told, there are different types of qualitative research. Now, how we will conduct this qualitative research, or whenever we are writing any article that is related with the qualitative research, that is our main concern. Like what people actually do, people like copying some of the informations from the Google, from the scholars, and they are just putting those informations, and some kind of introduction is being given, and at the end they have given the analysis like this is way the thing has been done. So that is the way people generally do the qualitative research, but that is not the way. In every research, whenever we start, whether it's related with the thesis or whether it's related with the article, whenever we are starting with the qualitative research, obviously there has to be one introduction. Within that introduction, you have to add the background of the study. What is the background? Like whatever problem you have undertaken for your study, now you have to present the background. So based on those background, now what you want to research, what you want to bring new thing in your investigation, you have to give everything in your introduction. After that, based on that, you can give a kind of theoretical framework, but this theoretical framework will come after when you have given your statement of the problem. Okay, from statement of the problem as well as the significance of the study. Okay, so this is the problem, this is the why I'm doing the research, and based on that you can develop one of the theoretical framework. Okay, this theoretical framework will give a kind of stand to your qualitative research. Like, what is the theory behind your research? So why you are doing this research, what are the things are pertinent in your research? Okay, so this is a kind of stand in your research will give a support to your study. So in that way you can give a theoretical presentation of your research. After that, what you can do, the step 2, or we can say the chapter 2, that comes under the review of related literature. Obviously, whatever review you will do, that has to be related with your present study. You will see whether that reviews are mostly related with your study, mostly those reviews are the most recent. It has to be most recent, because if you give 10 years before, because each and every day we are seeing that new theories are being developing, so that's why you have to give the very recent theories. Okay, so if you see that related with that study, you are getting a literature, it's fine. If you are not getting related literature, you have to take a supporting kind of literature, that is half-heartedly supporting your thesis or supporting your articles. In that way you are generating the literature review. And from that literature review, what you will do, you, if you are not getting the full literature, like whatever your study, like if you are not getting the supporting document with that literature, then this is a plus point for you, because this is a new research area which has not been done by any other researcher, and you are the one who are being highlighting on those issues. So this will come as your research gap. Okay, so based on those research gap and the theories that you have developed, now you will frame the research objectives. Based on research objectives, obviously we've also framed the research questions. And after that, you have to select your methodology, whether you want to go for the phenomenological, whether you want to go for the narrative research, whatever research you want to conduct based on your problem. So you will select that methodology. Now you can ask, like, how we can select this methodology, like in what way we can select this methodology. That also depend upon the kind of information you want to portray on your research or in your article. Like if you are conducting research that is related with the struggles or the historical background, like the women as a freedom fighter, so if this is your title, okay, now you have to see that those freedom fighter, the individuals are not alive right at this moment. So people who are actually the you know who have actually listened from their grandparents or from their ancestor, we will select some of the sample. In that way we can use the narrative one, narrative research also. If it is not, then you can also, if the people are alive, if you are getting at least 20 30 samples, then you can use the phenomenological research where they will share their experiences. In that way you have to select the methodology. Okay, and after selecting the methodology, you can also frame your research design, whatever design you want to go with it, you can select in that way. Now, based on those methodologies, based on your those strategies, now you have to collect the information. So the most common thing that we use for the historical research, that is the interview and observe. These two methods are very common. And the third one that we generally use, that is the document analysis or the content analysis. That is the research paper that we can see in different in different websites, and based on those supporting the documents also we can support our research. So that is the way you can do, or if it is not, then you can also use the interview or the observation method. So with that also you can collect in that way also you can collect the data. And the one more the method that we can use for the collecting data, that is a focus group. Focus group are nothing but the target group. So target group on the people on whom we are actually doing the research. So that should be our target or the focus group. So we can do a group discussion. We can call those people. We can ask those people and asking those the questions that we want to know. Like we have a set of questionnaire and we want to generate more in-depth knowledge, more in-depth knowledge. Huh? This is the most important thing in the case of qualitative research. We need to have a more in-depth knowledge. That's why we won't call a large number of sample. We will have a small sample and we will have a one-to-one discussion or the group discussion, so that we can get an idea about the people, what they are thinking, what they are telling. So based on that, we can collect the information. Next, we are coming to the analysis of the data. So now this is the major part. Like till here, it's fine. Like we have collected the information, we have called up the people, we have collected the information, or like we have been the in the the area of sample area, and there we have observed the incidents in the natural setting, and we have the collected the information. Now, how to analyze the data? This is the most important. So what we have to do, we have conducted the open-ended or the close-ended questionnaire, the information that we got. Now we will do a kind of thematic analysis. So there are certain kind of procedure. In that way also we can, analyze the data. So first one is the thematic analysis. We have to see the pattern, whether each and every individuals are responding in the same way, whether they are experiencing the same thing, then it's fine. We are getting this thing. In that way also we can, do the analysis, whether the people are having the same pattern of, observation, or they are having the same kind of responses or not. So in that way, if people responses are varying, like three peoples are having different, the responses, other five peoples are having some different responses. So in different paragraphs, what we have to do, we have to generate those thematic and like people have experiences this, people who are residing in those area, they have experience in this. So we have to give in depth analysis in that way, and why they have, experiences such thing, and why it is being different from the first group, why the first group have not been, experienced as such as the second one. So we have to give each and every detail. In that way also we can do. Next one is the content analysis. In content analysis, we can use the cloud diagram. So there is one software, that is the NVivo software or the MaxQDA software. So this software we can use where we will see the patterns. Okay, like we will examine the words, we will examine the phrases. Like if we have selected 10 articles, we will use those 10 articles and we will put it in the software, and we will see like majority word, like if it is related with the freedom fighter also. So majority words are being, the word count, we can actually say the word count are related with women, whether the word count are related with the struggle, whether it's violence. Okay, what are the different new words we are getting, which counts are much more higher, whether it's related with women, like violence, the struggle, the kind of apathy they have seen. So if we pick up this word, and based on those words, we have to analyze our data. In that way also we can do. Third one we can use as a narrative analysis. So narrative analysis is nothing but when we are using the narrative research, so we are getting some kind of personal stories. So from those personal stories also, we can, generate the experiences of the people, and in that way we can do the analysis. So that is the most easiest one, because the people are having the stories, we are generating those, presenting those stories in our article, and this is the reason of this has happened. So in this way also, but the thing is that whatever analysis, whatever, whether you are using the thematic one, whether using the content analysis, whatever analysis you are using, you have to use the citation. Okay, that is the measure important in qualitative research, or in, even nowadays in the quantitative research also. You have to give the citation, like you have to support whatever the results you are getting. You have to support it with the help of the citation. If you are getting the different result, like the people who have conducted 5 years or the 1 years before, you are getting a different results also. So from there also you have to give the citation, like they have stated in that way. But in the research, in the present research, like we can't say that in my research, we can't use the first word in our research. So in the present research we have seen that this thing. So in that way you have to do the analysis. Even in the grounded theory, so whatever analysis, whatever results that you have generated, you have to see whether you can build any theories or not. How you will build the theories? You can develop some kind of principles from there. Like people who are involved in the the freedom fighter scenario, they have been shattered by the the violence. They are being violated by the elite people. They have been violated by the the ministers of that time. Okay, so you have to give some you have to see whether any sort of principles or whether any sort of common characteristics you can see or not, and based on those common characteristics you can develop one theory. So that will comes under the grounded theory level, okay, or grounded theory analysis. Next step that we can use, ensuring the trustworthiness and the credibility. So for generating the trustworthiness as well as the credibility, what you have to do, you have to do the triangulation method. Triangulation method is nothing, you are using the multiple data which are actually supporting your findings. Okay, like if you are getting result A, now you have to see what are the other studies that have actually generated result A, and you are using those results in your study, and in this way you can do the triangulation. That means you are stating that whatever results you have got, previous studies have also got the same result, but in my case we got something extra. So that extra also you have to put it in your theory or in your research. Member checking is nothing but like after you have generated the data, you have done the analysis, now you will go to the people and you will ask those participants about the feedback, about the thing that you have got in your results. So now you will see whether they have also got the same thing or not. So in that way also we can use the trustworthiness. And the last one is the thick description, providing detailed context to enhance your understanding. That means whatever reasons you are giving, you have to support those reasons by giving a deep the context of your study. Last one is the interpreting and presenting the findings. So interpreting is nothing but you are summarizing your finding. You are finding out whatever existing knowledge you got. You will explain those findings, and you will also at last relate with your research questions as well as the objective that you have framed, or the research question that you have framed, whether your finding is matching with those objectives or research, you have to relate those things. And the last one, you have to draw conclusion, and based on your conclusion you have to give some recommendations. So these are the certain kinds of data collection procedure that we use generally use for the qualitative research. One is the documentary analysis, or we can say the document analysis, that is the letter diaries, official documents, okay, media sources. So these are some of the document analysis. So whenever you are using this sort of the documents in research methodology, you have to mention, like in your research you have used document analysis method, and for as a supporting document you have presented or you have used this thing, so you have to mention it. Next one is the observation. Obviously, you can use the participant observation, then non-participant observation. Non-participant observation is nothing, but in the previous, the session also I have told you, like you are watching something from the very distance, and you are watching the event in a natural setting, but from the distance you are watching. And participant, when you are participating with that group, and you are being the part of that group, and you are just collecting the information. Structured observation is nothing but you are watching the specific event or behavior, and you are recording those things. Unstructured is nothing. Unstructured is more flexible, like you are being there, like you are observing the thing from the distance, as well as sometimes you are participating in that group also. So that one is the unstructured. Now the semi-structured interview. Semi-structured is nothing when you have framed the question paper priorly, so that is the semi-structured. And again, while you have been in the interview session, though you have prior questions that you have set it, but suddenly you thought this questions is very important, it will give much more deep analysis. So in that moment also, you are asking the question that comes on your mind. So that is the semi-structured. Focus group is nothing. Focus group, as I have told, you will select some of the group who are your target population, and you will have a discussion. You can have a discussion on one-to-one basis, or you can have a discussion with that group also, and you will get kind of collective experiences. So that is a focus group. Choosing the right method. So in qualitative research, you don't have any fixed, hierarchy of method. So in the quantitative research, the way we set the research question, we set the research objective. Here also you will do the same thing, but only the thing, we are not framing the hypothesis, because you can't test the hypothesis with the the information that you are getting. So here in the qualitative research, we won't frame any hypothesis. We will deal only with the research questions and the research objective. Now the study, as I have told that you can conduct the interview in the one-to-one or in a discussion basis, and from there you can generate the information. Now the next one is the step for evaluating or analyzing of data in qualitative research. Now, how will you analyze the data? The data that you have collected, you have to structure those data in a meaningful manner, like in from a different segment, from a different sector, we are collecting the data. So that data are not in an organized way. So you have to categorize the data in different dimensions. You have to see the patterns. Now from there you have to find out the uncovered relationship, the relationship that has not been portrayed in the prior research. So from there you have to find out the relationship between the variables, between the behaviors of the people, or the practices that has been conducted in the present set. So you have to see the pattern of the data. The most important thing, you have to see the pattern of the data. You can see the pattern of the data only if you are organizing the data in a meaningful manner. That is the most important thing. Whether if you are using the software also, in software also, whenever you will put any sort of information, you have to first organize the data from the basic to the advanced. Okay. Now, reading the overall collected data. So in qualitative research, what you have to review the related paper, you have to review, or you have to read, you have to go through the information that you have been collected from your immediate participants. You have to find out the theme, what kind of theme you are getting. Okay. And from that theme, you have to see the pattern. 100 times when you will see the pattern, then only you will get a further exploration, like how you will able to analyze it. So in qualitative research, that's why we ask students to see 20, 30, 40 research paper. And after you are going to the numerous paper, you will see the variations. You will see the variations only when you will have a deep analysis. Two things are very important that you have to see in the research. First is the objective, what objective has been set by the paper, what methodology, like which methodology was being used by the researcher, and how the interpretation has been framed. So these things you have to see. Okay, next, The third one is, we can see, it's the categorizing the collecting data. Now you have to identify, like as you have framed the research objectives, so based on those research objectives, you have collected the information from the people. Now you have to see, like, your research objective are focusing on those specific areas or not, which are your more interest area, which are your interest area. Now you will do a compare and contrast with the information that has been generated from different people. Okay, if you want to ask something, anybody is having any question? Okay, now after comparing and contrasting, what you will do, you will classify the data, and based on that you will be able to interpret. Now, when you are categorizing your data, you have to categorize the data with the help of certain well structured labeling. Like first one is the basic one, so you have to use the term basic. The second one is the characteristic, like if you are conducting research on the tribal people, like the impact of digitalization on the tribal people culture. So if this is your research area, now you have, first what you will do, you have to find out the categories. So these are, here your categories of people are the tribal. Next one, the basic characteristics. Third one, what you will do, the impact of digitalization. Fourth one, due to the impact of digitalization, what are the cultural changes you have seen? Like in culture, you have food habits, you have, habit of living, you have a lifestyle, then you have a utensils that you are using in your day-to-day life. Okay, so these patterns you have to see whether you are seeing any sort of changes in this, the ingredients, and from there only you will be able to interpret with the information that you have collected from the people. So through observation as well as with the help of interview, you have to use both, then only you will get the deep analysis. Only with the help of, collecting the information, you won't get the deep analysis. For deep analysis, you will find out the information through the, with the help of interview, and you have to do the observation also. And with that also, you have to see the prior, the investigation, what was their lifestyle, whether it has been changed or not in the present situation, you have to see that. Okay, next from there you have to find out the causal relationship. So you have to find out the relationship between variables. One thing I see in the case of qualitative research, that people are not, identifying their variables. They generally identify the variables in the case of the quantitative one, but when you are coming to the qualitative one, people are not actually, they are not delineating, or we can say they are not identifying, they are not writing those variables. But it is equally important for your qualitative research also, that you have to find out the variables, and you have to see the cause and effect relationship between the variables. Okay, so here what we do, here we find out the causal relationship between the variables, how the one variables is affecting other, like whether the digital impact, like the digitalization or the digital technology, how it has impacted the culture of the tribal people. So it has changed their behavior, it has changed their lifestyles, it has changed their present practices. Okay, it has changed their mode of living. Okay, so you have to see in each and every aspect, and lastly you have to record, or you have to systematically document it with the help of your organized accessible information that you have already collected from different sources. Till here, it's any problem? If anybody is having any problem? Okay, now how you will interpret the qualitative research data in your qualitative research. So the data that you have collected, okay, if it is related with the management, if it is related with the, even not it's specifically, it's not like that, even in the case of management, but you can use it in the every field. You can do one thing, that is a SWOT analysis. This is very common in the case of management. So the strength of the research, the weakness of the research, the opportunity and the threat. Okay, so in that way also you can interpret your data. Secondly, you can interpret in the way of summarizing and the justifying your findings. So how will you justify your finding? The benefits, the findings that you have got. the crucial aspect that you have seen in your research, the relevant, the relationship that you have seen in your research. So you have to put those things in your finding. So the finding that you will write in your, in your study or in your research, that has to be in a point form, or you can make a subheading, and based on that also you can put up those things in a highlighted way. So in that way also you can justify your findings. Method of interpretation. So when you are doing the interpretation, you can also do one thing, that is that you can list those things, or you can present those information in a table format or in a categorical format. So in that way, like as I have given one example, so you culture, under culture you have a food habit, you have a lifestyle, you have a, the mode of living. So you can make a pattern of table with the help, or you can make a list, and you will present your finding. So it has changed in which mode it has, you have found in your research. So in that way you can, make a final list of that, or you can interpret it also. Next, elaborate your narratives. So the detailed explanation that you have got from your interview, from your recording, so you have to elaborate those narrations. And the last one, that you can use of matrices. So matrices are nothing but when you are presenting your data in your tabular form, you are comparing the data with different groups. Like you can compare the tribal group with the non-tribal one. Okay, in that way also you can do, like digitalization. Like if you're, the concern area, if it is a tribal people, it's not required to go with the non-tribal people, but whatever findings you have got, you can compare it in the basis of previous, the mode of living and the mode of living of now, due to the, because the more digitalization you are seeing in your society, the more impact you can see, and how they are being changing their culture. So you can present the previous and the present one in the tabular format. So in that way also it will be more justified, because you are giving the recent thing, in that way you can present. Okay, and the steps for preparing the report. So based on your, the research that you have done, in the final stage, what you can do, you have to present your information, whatever data you have got, in a well structured matter. You have to present it. You can organize the content in the form of report, like highlighting the objectives and highlighting the methodology, and as well as also presenting your findings in the content manner. Next, you can also discuss the report, like the interpretation that you got. So you have to give a more clarity, more, the consistency in your report, and the, you can, in this way you can actually improve your reporting. Next, you can also prepare the executive summary. So executive summary is nothing but, you are giving the overview of your research, you are highlighting the findings, you are, giving the conclusion, and based on conclusion you are also giving the recommendation. And at last, what we do in our research, that the further scope for the research. So till here, your qualitative, do you have any problem with the qualitative research? If anybody is having any question. Okay, now we are coming to the quantitative one. So quantitative, if we see the evolution of the quantitative research, since from the period of Galileo, so from there the quantitative research has been actually started. After that, Pascal, okay, who have actually invented the probability theory. From Pascal inventions also, we can stress that this is the time being from where the quantitative research has actually came into being. And after that, when the invention of the natural science, when this natural science are presented with the help of experiment in the form of numerals, so slowly we can see the improvement in the quantitative research. Next, we all know the name of Francis Galton as well as Carl Pearson, who have actually, brought this statistical technique in our society. From there, slowly we can see much more improvement in the field of quantitative research. And lastly, we can say when the inferential statistics have came into being, from there only we can say that the quantitative research has been came into being. So quantitative, from the name only we can say it's dealing with the numbers, numerals, where we can see the cause and effect relationship. And here we answer the question that is deals with how long, how many, the degree, how much. Okay, so here we actually frame the hypothesis, and based on the hypothesis, whatever information, whatever data we are getting, we are either accepting as well as the rejecting, and after that we are interpreting our result. Now, in the quantitative research, we can use various kind. First one is the descriptive. This is the common one. This is under descriptive. We use the survey method. Generally, we use the survey method where we use the characteristics or the behaviors of the person. Next, we are coming to the correlation method. Correlation method is nothing when we are having a title, the relationship between sleep duration and the productivity, relationship between teacher effectiveness and the competency, relationship between the the smoking and the cancer. So when we want to see the relationship in our title, we generally use the correlation method. In such kind of research, we generally use the correlation method or the scatter diagram. More we use those kind of research techniques, or we can say the Carl Pearson method, where we actually see the relationship between the variables. So it can be two variables, it can be more than two variables. So when there are more than two variables, it comes under the multiple correlation method. Next one is the experimental research. Experimental research is nothing when we are conducting the research in a controlled environment, and we are just want to see the cause and effect relationship by manipulating the independent variable, and we want to see what is the effect when we are manipulating the independent variable, what is the effect of it on the dependent variable. So this is the purpose we use the experimental research, and we generally use this method in a control situation. Control situation means in a laboratory method we use. In a lab field we can generally use such method. And even in the case of the human being, here we take a very small sample. The We use generally small sample for conducting the experimental research, because if we take a large sample for the experimental research, it will take much more time to experiment each and every sample. So that is not possible. That's why we, as we are doing the situation in a control situation, so we have to keep everything under control. If we take a vast individual and we are conducting research or we are investigating on them, so it can become a mess or it can become a haphazard. So that's why we have to limit our individuals, so that the much we will limit them, the much we can have a control over them. So that's why we are limiting those things. Next, we are coming to the quasi-experimental research. Quasi-experimental research is very much similar to the experimental research, but the thing is that it lacks the randomized assignment of the participant. What is this randomized assignment? In experimental, what we generally do, or we can say in the case of descriptive research, we randomly select the person. Like in a class, if I want to select 50 students, what we do, we randomly go in the class and I will select every fifth participant or the fifth student, like 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth, again 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm selecting the randomly the participant, or like in this way also randomly I have visited, I have seen some of the participants, I have picked up them. In that way also I can do. So whenever we are using the quasi experimental research, but in quasi experimental research we do not use this randomization. What we do, we just on the basis of matched mean and their SD scores, we select those participants. That is, like we will see the participants who are having a equal, like I will select the average students. So I'm not concerned about the person who are actually not securing the highest mark or the person not securing the lowest mark. I will choose only the random average students. In that case, what I can do, I can ask the class teacher, please show me the scorecard of the students who have scored average, and based on that we will select the individuals who have scored average in their academic achievement test. In that way we can do. And in that way we can use the pre-test and post-test design. Pre-test and post-test, why we use this design? Because if we are having a varying kind of participant, like one participant has scored highly and the other one has scored poorly, if we choose in that way, then they are not having a same level of parity between the participants. So that's why we will do the matched method. And based on that, what we will do, we will like give one sort of intervention to one group, and we won't give the intervention to the second group. And in this way we will do the analysis whether this intervention is good for them or not. So we will evaluate in that way. Cross sectional is nothing when we are analyzing the data from one single point, and we will identify the pattern of relationship. So that is a cross sectional. Longitudinal is nothing. Longitudinal, like now I have seen the people, and after 5 years or after 10 years, when again I will see the people, whatever developmental changes have taken place within those individuals. So that is a longitudinal means, like in one span of time we have tested, again in the second span of time again we will test. That span of time will vary within 5 years to 10 years, in that way. Now, steps for quantitative research. So here also we will identify the research problem. Based on the research problem, we will do the literature review. Based on the literature review, we will generate the research objectives as well as the hypothesis. And after generating the research objectives and hypothesis, we will do the research design, where we will select the research methodology. Under this methodology, we will select the sample, we will select the variables, we will collect the data. We can use different kind of data collection methodology, survey, questionnaire, okay, the observational checklist. So whatever suitable to our research. So based on that, we will collect the data, and after that, we will do the analysis. So lastly, if we see the difference between the qualitative and the quantitative research, so focus that qualitative research is dealing with the quality, and the quantitative research is dealing with the quantity. So philosophy, if we see for the qualitative research, it is more phenomenological, that is, it is related with the events, it is related with the perception of the people. And the quantitative research, it is more positivism. Positivism is nothing when we are dealing with the numbers, numericals, so that comes under the positivism. Method wise we can use observation, interview in both of the method. And next, the goal setting, if we see, the goal is to understand the pattern of theme, the pattern of relationship. And here the goal is to test the hypothesis, and while testing, either we accept or either we reject it. Now, the design for the qualitative research is very flexible, because we can use narrative one, we can use the case analysis one. But when we are coming to the quantitative, we are having a fixed kind of structured pattern, so we can't move from that pattern. Okay, so we having a rigid pattern. So based on those pattern, we will conduct the research. So generally, qualitative research, as I have told you, we generally select small number of sample, because we are having a various kind of individuals, various perceptions are there. So it's not possible to portray the every each minute perceptions in my article as well as in thesis. So what we will do, we will just select some of the sample, majority, what the majority are being telling, or the majority people perception, we will present in our study. But for the quantitative, we generally use the large and the randomization method. Based on the research design, actually we use the randomization, or we use the non-randomization method also. Now, data collection in both the type, like for the first one, we generally use interview observation, but for the quantitative, we use test, scale, questionnaire, achievement tests, inventories. So these are the various kind we can use for the quantitative one. Analysis is more inductive. Why it is inductive? Because this is the first time which the researcher have actually experienced the problem, and whatever theory the researcher is building, it should be a new one. It has not been investigated. If you are getting the same result for every time, so what's the use of your research? So you have to find out something new. As because you have felt the problem, now whatever findings you are generating from your study, that has to be new. But for the quantitative one, we use the deductive method where you use mostly the statistical method, and the findings, last one, that is the comprehensive, descriptive, detail, more. It should be a more broad. Whenever we are coming to the qualitative are more broad and deep. But when we are coming to the quantitative, it is more precise, it is more numerical, and we can say it is more systematic. Obviously qualitative is also systematic, but based on the requirement we shift for the qualitative research. So if anybody is having any questions, so you may ask, so I can answer you. Any sort of questions? Okay.
Madam, final question.
Hmm.
Suppose if I if I prepare one paper,
Hmm.
just everything is good and output has to came. So how the researchers can identify my paper is very quality,
Hmm.
it's very highly quality,
Hmm.
and based on the you are explained that everything, madam. Just 2 points tell me that in that I
Hmm.
observed the paper is very high quality, yes,
Hmm.
and what and it means output depends upon what you tell is everything quality is experimental everything I read, yes, no? We can understand, madam. I can understand clearly, but some points they are considering now. This paper is very high quality, this paper is low quality.
Hmm.
So, and means some of the paper I observed with the equations, histogram, and
Hmm.
the graphs, equations. Suppose some people says, suppose in that paper, if you have the more equations, then it get good quality. It
No,
is
no,
like
no. It's not like that.
yes,
See,
yes.
when you are presenting your information in the form of, the graphical representation, whether you are using the histogram or the pie, whatever, it's not like that. As because you have used the graphical representation, your paper is a high quality. No, it has to support your theory, whatever theory you are building with the help of your article. It has to support that first of all thing. The second one is, most of us, what we do, we do not give the accurate data. The data that we generally give, it's come in our mind, and based on that we are preparing one data. Actually, we are not serving the thing. So when we go for the survey, we will get much more detailed information, and those detailed information must support your theory. The high quality paper, whatever high quality paper you will see, it has to be systematically okay. It has to support your theory. Whatever in qualitative research, what we do, we actually support, not only in qualitative, even in the quantitative also, we actually support the theory. So that theory building system is not, when it is not present in your article, that time it becomes a issues with the high quality and the low quality paper.
Okay, okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And those issues can be solved only when you will give the data of, that supporting your research. You will give the citation, your references has to be okay, your language, your formatting, everything. So in that way, we can say this is a high quality paper.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
So
you.
when you will research the thing properly, obviously you will give your best. But when you are, doing the documenting based on the previous study, and you are not giving something of your own, even also if you are using the document analysis, you have to build your own theory. If you are not building in your own theory, like there is nothing in your new in your research, in
Yes.
that way it's become a problem.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, madam. Okay. Yeah, understood, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Any more question? Okay, sir, I don't think anybody is having any questions. So I think, If you want to, the end the session here, so you can. Sir, are you there? Just a second. So participants, you are not having any questions. Have you understood?
Okay.
Okay. You want to ask something? Navya, you want to ask something? If you don't have any questions, so then I think you can leave the meeting, or if you want to wait for the sir, because sir will join soon. If you want to wait for the sir, you can wait.
It's okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank
Thank you,
you to all
madam.
of you for hearing my lecture patient.
Thank you so much, madam.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, can we get recording of this lecture? Because due to connectivity issue, I have missed some part.
You have to ask the organizer, like if they are having the record.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Can we get this PPT, ma'am, presentation? Whatever you're done, ma'am.
For that also you have to ask the organizer, because I have already sent it the PPT. So if they
Okay,
want to
ma'am.
share with you, they can share it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. You have explained very well.
Thank you. Thank you. If you have actually you have benefited from the session, then obviously thanks to you, because you have patiently heard the whole thing. So that is more
Thank you.
important thing for me.
Yeah, at least we can understand, madam, how the while preparing the documents, what are the content is there, how we are preparing, what is the intensity of our research, so on which area we are focusing on that. So everything we can get, madam. So that clearly we can understand. Thank you
You
very
will
much. Uh,
choose. You have to
previous,
stick on that particular method,
yeah, yeah,
and you have to
previous.
get the related sources for that thing. That is the thing, and you have to cite. You have to cite your information, whatever information you are giving. So you have to cite those. Then only it will become a high quality paper.
So, okay, madam. Thank you very much for
Okay.
Hello,
explanation.
ma'am. Hello.
Uh,
Ma'am, subtopic recording me, ma'am.
Subtopic recording.
Recording, ma'am.
That Rajneet ma'am have told that she will give you after the session gets over. Already it's over. They will send you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay.
Thank you.